Another story at World Championships. That's when there was a lot of deceit, fiasco going on. So you had some people in one suit, other people in other suits, and then you had athletes that were contractually committed to wearing a suit, even though they thought or knew at that point that it probably wasn't the fastest suit. So it really wasn't an even playing field for a lot of athletes. And a lot of athletes were not necessarily forced, but they made the decision that they were going to support their suit sponsor. And that by making that decision and committing to that, they knew that they were at a disadvantage. And yet, that's what they were faced with. And it was very interesting in watching some of the better athletes at World Championships that you knew were going to finish better than they did finish, and how they handled that situation. And here's some things that I watched. I watched Peter Vanderkay, who obviously was a much better athlete in terms of how he finished and placed at World Championships than was allowed, whether it was the suit or not. But more importantly than that was the character in which he went through that. He never complained. He always looked at each event coming up and talked with his coaching staff about what he could do different and what he could do better. I watched Michael Phelps see some of his world records broken and never really complaining about it, even if he were in the race, talking to his coach about, this is what I deserve to do because this is the effort that I put in to get here. And not even looking at what anyone else around him was doing. And if you don't know Michael, that's what really drives Michael. You'll very rarely hear him talk about any other goal. I don't think I've ever heard him talk about any other goal than doing a best time at a competition. When he's done best time, regardless of what's happened around him, he's extremely satisfied with his performance. And I remember specifically when Ryan broke his world record in the 200 IM. I don't think anyone was happier than Michael was for Ryan. I mean, he really talked about it so much with the people around him when it was going on. I remember the way he embraced Ryan after the race. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were on the same playing field. They were wearing the same suit. And not to mention they're good friends and they're very fierce competitors. At the same time, they're all about making themselves help each other get better. And that's another common thread that you see through the U.S. national team. Anytime you go to a training camp, anytime you're watching them in competition, some of the best coaches on that team are the swimmers that swim with these athletes and swim the same events they swim. So they're competing in the pool, but when they're together, they're helping each other get better because they represent a team that represents a country, and they take a lot of pride in that. So I would encourage you to do the same thing at home. Embrace your team, help your teammates get better. How many of you have thought about what you're going to take back to your teams when you leave this camp? I think that's great. Has anyone written anything email-wise to their teammates and told them what kind of experience they were having? Good. I think that that's a responsibility that you all have. I mean, this is how many of you, is this your first trip here to the Olympic Training Center? It's a pretty neat place, huh? I really encourage you to take pictures. I encourage you to maybe reflect back on what you've done and write down some things that you've experienced so that you can go back to your coaches and you can go back to your clubs and you can share those experiences with them. It's all a part of lifting and elevating the sport, and you'll be absolutely amazed at how it will make you a better athlete as well. Okay, we're going to show the last clip now.